ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Vobes show. Hello, Julia.
Hello, Richard.
How are you?
All right, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you very much. Very kind of you. It's Monday the 1st of October, 2000... did I say October? Sorry, did I say October?
No, but I said October the other day when it was still September.
Yes, it's an outrage. Hang on, can you just haul the camera in? Oh, hang on, let me move over a bit.
Any more?
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think that's plenty. Let's see if anybody's out there in the world of the internet. And yes, there are a lot of people there. Hello to all of you. I'm not going to bother to go through all the names because it just, wastes time, ladies and gentlemen. But it's lovely to see you. We may call out some names a little bit later on. Did I say October?
I don't know, did you?
Yes, I did. It's
okay.
October, ladies and gentlemen. It's October. Where has the year gone? Where has it gone, lovely Julia?
I have no idea.
It vanished. It's crazy. It go crazy. But we are not lazy. We are crazy, but we're not lazy. Welcome to the Vobes show on... it's chilly now, isn't it?
It's cold.
It's not overly warm in here.
It's warmer than I thought it'd be.
Yeah, it was the lights, they're like 400 kilowatt lights, ladies and gentlemen. They are blaze. Actually, they're LED, so they don't actually generate very much heat. But it's psychosomatic. It feels warmer. When I came in earlier, it was stone cold, and I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? The lovely Julia's going to be in the studio, and she'll be all like goose pickly. No, not pickly. Pimply. You'll be a pimply teenager. You'll be goosed. You'll be...
Goose pimpled.
Yes! That's the word.
Something like that.
Something like that, which is sort of what I'm saying. So there we go. Nice to see you all out there. Thank you very much for coming. Got some subjects to talk about in today's show. Start the week off with a little bit of subjects. Even you don't know what the subjects are.
No.
I've kept them close to my chest, ladies and gentlemen. So close. I will peel them off now. So here we go. Number one. These are the subjects. A place that you would love to visit. Never been. Where would you most like to visit? Think about that. You don't have to do it yet. We'll come to these in a minute, okay? I'm just giving you time to think. Get the old codger brain going.
Get the cogs going.
Anywhere that you would like to visit?
I think there's quite a few places I'd like to visit, to be honest.
Yeah, but if you had to only write one of them down, where would it be? If somebody was about to, shoot your head off and they said, but you've got one last request, where would you like to go?
Honestly, I think it'd be the pyramids.
The pyramids.
Egyptian pyramids.
The Egyptian pyramids, where they are. That's interesting, isn't it? Over in Giza, those.
Yeah.
Here, Giza. Here, like your triangular house. Can you dunk it in the tea? Like a tea bag. Anyway, never mind.
Yeah.
You got that. So that's one. So think about that one, ladies and gentlemen. Your most stressed day. When was your most stressed day and why? My sister was very stressed earlier today. I saw her. Tell you about that a little bit later. But when was your most stressed day and where were you and what happened? We'd be interested in that one. You got a stressed day?
Oh, I have lots of stress days.
3. Yeah. What is the most beautiful thing that you have ever seen? What, has struck you in all the things that you've ever seen? I mean, these are hard questions to answer, but I want one thing, the most beautiful thing that's, it can't be a person. It's got to be something in the world that you've seen, okay? Because obviously you'd be duty bound to go, oh, my wife or my husband, So we don't want a person. It's got to be a thing. Got any ideas on things, the most beautiful things?
For me personally?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly.
Oh, Marv, this is very good. Okay, and let's have a look. Number 4, I've got 5 of them, okay, just in case we run out of ideas. Something that you bought and immediately regretted. You mentioned the other day that you'd bought some books.
Yep.
And then you went, I don't think I'm ever going to use those books or read those books. So I'd be interested to know if you've done that big faux pas that maybe you've never told anybody. Maybe you've kept it under your breath. But the thing that you've bought, something that you've bought, you've never, and immediately you go, oh, why did I buy that? Never going to use it. Never going to touch it. Never going to eat it. Never going to play it. Never going to massage it. Never going to wave my hands underneath it.
Whatever that is.
Whatever that is. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, a particularly, well, it can be anything on this one, a family heirloom.
I wish you told me about that, because I actually thought about bringing one of my heirlooms.
Oh, well, funny enough, I only thought about it 10 minutes before the show.
All right.
So you can let me off on that
Well,
one.
I'd only thought about it 20 minutes before the show, as I was dashing out my door.
Oh, well, there we are, see?
But I was dashing out the door, so
yeah.
I decided just to get out that door.
Excuse me, I must have a slurp of coffee.
Go on then, we'll let you have a slurp of coffee. We're used to it.
Lovely. Now, before we get on to any of that, ladies and gentlemen, the lovely Julia, the lovely Mr. Suggett, and myself...
And the lovely Richard.
Yesterday were busy at it. What were we up to, lovely Julia? What were we busy at?
Took me a second then.
Yes. The clouds of memory, you know. It's like, well, I did so many things yesterday.
Well, no, I was actually thinking of what actually happened.
Yeah, well, what did actually happen?
We were planting in my garden.
We were planting in a garden.
So I got my hands all grubby.
Yes.
It was great.
Yes. What were we planting?
We were planting garlic.
Yes.
Chard.
Oh, yes.
Kale.
Yes.
Cabbage.
Yes.
And...
garlic. Oh, you said garlic.
I said garlic.
Wait a minute. Cuddly toy.
Wasn't there 2 types of kale?
Yeah, there was 2 types of kale.
Yeah.
Oh, and cauliflower.
Oh yes, cauliflower.
And cauliflower. So that's all very good. Let's have a look at the. Let's have a look and see who's out there, and let's have a look at some of the massages. I've got to go back a bit. So excuse me if we've been burbling a little bit, just giving people time to get in.
Yes, we do burble a lot.
Maya Ullman Hayward Harwood even says I can announce our word of the week is livid. We'd like to know what you're livid at, actually, Maya. That would be good. Steve Pilford says, hopefully not death. Not quite sure what that's in connection for. Joe Smith has joined. Hello, Joe.
Word of the day.
Word of the day.
Week, rather.
Word of the week. Oh, word of the week is livid.
Yeah. But I think that's what Steve Pilford was.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Fair dues.
Anyway,
we're
so
trying
hard
to...
to
yeah,
know.
It's very hard to know. Is that another word like moist, says Linda Kane. Let's not go down that road.
Oh...
No, Maya says the other day we got the car at school, so nervous I collapsed. Oh, got the call at school. What call? You're being very confusing, Maya. Try and send us a bit more information on that one. Would be good. Jonathan Beluzik saying that moist is not a particular... And they're all talking to themselves. Don't know why I bother sometimes. Change the calendar. Thank you, Steve. Something practical to do. Yeah. So, the lovely Julia, a little task for you here. Just show everybody what's on the calendar now, in case you've missed it. Hang on a moment, let's get the camera sorted. I'm going to zoom in. Zoom. Oops.
Where is it?
There it is. So that's what's on there now, ladies and gentlemen. And the lovely Julia's going to swap it round. Wait for it. So exciting. Bing. Oh, yes, I remember that day. Do you remember that day? Ding! You remember when we went up in the...
Oh, yes. Now I recognise it, yeah.
Yeah.
Looking at it backwards through the screen, yeah. Yeah.
So, tell everybody about that day.
Oh, yeah.
It's a shame you're not in that one, because actually you took that photo.
Yeah.
That is the very picture you took on your phone.
Yep. Shall I put it back up?
Oh.
Or you do it.
Oh, I'll do it.
You don't have to get up.
So tell us where it was, because nobody knows.
That was in the temporary... temporary wheel, big wheel that was on
in Worthing,
in Steam Gardens, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like not like the London Eye.
It's just somewhat bit smaller than that.
It was a titchy version of the London Eye called the Worthing Eye.
Yeah.
Or in my case, it was eyeless. And it was what, £5 a go to get in there?
Yeah.
And we went up round in this thing, and you persuaded me to go because I wasn't going to go.
I did. Yeah. It was one of those spur of the moment things, you know.
Well, you had your little boy there.
Yeah, there was no queues. It was like, well,
let's go.
Let's do it.
And we did it. We took some pictures, and yeah, it was fun. And we got this bird's eye view Worthing. We got.
It was very scary, wasn't it? Though.
Because I was convinced this thing was going to roll off the hinge or the axle, and we'd be ending up going down the prom on this thing, rolling around cartwheel fashion. We didn't know, did we?
No, thankfully.
No. So there we are. Thank you, Steve Pilfold, for letting us know to change the calendar. It's always the duty of the first of the month or the first show in the month to do that, and we remembered.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, so I have got Worthing Wheel. Nigel Sadler is just reminding me is what it's called.
Yeah.
So there we go. That's marvellous. We got some photos from yesterday. I thought we'd share some pickies. So there's the lovely Julia, look, in the cage, as it's now known. It's not really known as a cage, is it? No. And there's my camera, and we were making another episode of Julia's Kitchen Garden. It'll be out
Finally.
It'll be out on Friday, hopefully. I've looked
Cool.
at some of the rushes, so that's really cool. So that was it. And Mr. Suggett was giving all the advice, and he'd grown. I keep wanting to call them saplings because I keep thinking of trees, but they're not saplings, are they? He'd grown seedlings. Seedlings, there we go, in these little pots that he's got in his hand. And he wasn't really doing very much because he made you do all the work.
Yeah, he showed me what to do, and it was invaluable help, basically. I'd have just stood there looking at it going, right, okay, how far apart do I need to do them? And I wouldn't have fitted many in because I'd have stuck to what it said on whatever instructions.
Look at that. Look at them. Look at those lovely plants in your... I mean, that's
I'm
what...
so excited. That just pleases me so much. Look at them.
There we are. No wonder you're smiling and you're happy. It took forever to do the filming. It should only have taken about half an hour to plant all those things in the ground, but it took about 4 hours because of the filming. But...
we persevered and we managed it.
Yeah, I think you did really well. I didn't do a single bit of planting at all. I was too busy prattling with the camera and getting stressed and banging my head.
Yes, a few too many times.
Far too many times. So, and here is the final sort of look from above through the netting, which is why it's a little bit blurred in places. You may not think that's terribly impressive, but I'm so impressed. Look at those regimental lines of all those little seedlings. They look fantastic. You did a great job and you should be very proud.
Thank you so much for your help, Suggett.
Yeah, it was really cool. And the great thing is now we can keep popping back and see the progress. And the lovely Julia can post pictures up and, you know, week 2. And there it is, and whatever it is, little measurement sticks and watering can shots. And, you know, it's going to be great. Very exciting because I haven't got much of a garden, so I can't do any of this nonsense. So I shall be living basically on whatever your gardening stuff is. So
Hope you like cauliflower.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I hope that we can sample it on the show. That would be great.
Yeah.
And do a menu and cook on the show.
That'd be good.
That would be great with some chard, some cabbage, some garlic. And what will we have for the main course? Oh, I know, cat, because you've got cats in your garden. Oh yeah, maybe not cats. We'll have to maybe chicken or something, or a vegetable samosa. I don't know what chard is. It's like spinach, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a type of spinach.
Yeah. But what I was amazed at was how I thought... This shows you how much I know about gardening and allotments. I thought that was quite a large space.
Yeah, it
and
did
that you
look
were
it
going to get
at
loads of veg in there. I thought you were going to have tons of it. That you'll be, you know, it'll grow all over the place. But it seems...
In hindsight, it's actually not that much space, is it?
No. It's like you've only got 5 different vegetables in there.
We're already wanting to expand it.
Yeah, so I mean, I think by the end of next year, you won't have a garden at all. There'll be no grass. There'll just be amazing veg, especially some of this heritage veg. Maya's suggesting cauliflower and breadcrumbs. That's a good idea. Breadcrumbs. Oh yeah, that's nice. Send us a recipe, Maya. Send us a recipe, or a link to a recipe. That would be great.
Shall we see if we can find some of the answers to that before we lose them all completely?
We won't lose them. Why are we losing them?
Oh, because people keep talking.
Oh yeah, because people keep talking. So
people keep talking.
People keep talking. Oh right, as in I keep talking. I just want to grab a couple more of these comments. Just seen Brit planes land in Europe.
Can't land in Europe, it says.
Oh, can't land in Europe. If no brevity. Don't know what you mean. So tell them. We will stop Europlanes fly over England. Right, not sure that's on topic. Not sure what that's about. Richard Suggett says, why do you think I have an allotment the size of Julia's garden? Well, that's true. But I can't believe that Richard can eat all that stuff. I mean, you're going to be eating chard and cauliflower for the next 20 years.
But the thing is, when you grow your own, as I've already seen, because I've been looking around on the internet at social sites and stuff, that when you've got a glut, i.e. too much of something, you offer it up and someone else will say, oh, well, yeah, I'll have some of them, and I've got some of these, would you like them?
Ah, so you share a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Much like the old ways, the ancient ways.
The old ways. I was thinking against your wall, and I'm sure Mr. Suggett has mentioned this, you could get peas growing up there and beans.
Yeah, he was actually originally talking about fruit trees, which I would love. You know,
fruit
small
trees,
miniature ones.
What kind of fruit?
Apples.
Pears.
Bananas. I'd love some oranges.
Oranges.
But I think I'd have to build a little...
Satsumas. Grapefruits, that'd be nice.
Melons. I'd make a little melon house.
Yeah, and do what Richard did and grow some of those big round giant oranges.
Oh, pumpkin.
Oh, pumpkins. Yeah, pumpkins.
Yes,
They're like giant oranges.
We did hope to for this year, but we didn't get around to it.
James de Will wants to know to Maya, how do you grow the breadcrumbs? That's very interesting. I think you have to start with wheat, don't you? You've got to get a bit of wheat, and then you've got to grow a bit of dough, or you need a bit of dough to buy the wheat seeds. Anyway, I don't know how it works. Most stressful day, probably the natural birth of twins.
Whoa.
Oh, felt helpless and not in control. Steve Pilfold, that's a good one. When was your most stressful day, and what were you doing, and how did it resolve? Do let us know, it would be interesting. Andy Dalgley says the most beautiful thing was this summer at the Hurstman Sue Medieval Festival with my friend Nadia and her husband and her 1-year-old son, Grayson. Little Grayson was playing with us when a little girl, Katie, came up to him. She said, "Hello, I'm Katie. What's your name?" Grayson can't talk yet, so they looked at each other for a moment, then hugged each other. It was so beautiful and pure that I cried.
Aww.
That was Andy Dalglish. Ah, how lovely is that? You see, children do make... they can make you all like tearful, and you know those moments of utter joy. Getting cold now?
Yep.
You're going to need a duffel coat by the end of the show.
Yep.
Because the temperature is dropping rapidly. Ian Beddoe says no need Suggett to tell us how to keep cauliflower, as mine are doing well so far. Yeah, I guess cauliflowers grow above the ground, don't they? They're not like tubers. They don't grow underneath.
Yeah.
So you can keep an eye on them.
It's the flower of the plant.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's very nice.
I believe.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I was thinking, why hadn't you got potatoes? That's something that you'd use loads of. Potatoes are good.
Yeah, it is something I use a load of. I do have some in a red plastic tub.
Oh, I thought you said a red plastic bag from Tesco's. King Edward's.
Yeah.
You could have had Queen Julia's. They would have been nice.
Yeah, if I
purple sprouting potatoes.
develop my own breed.
Yeah, I think that would be
Is that
nice.
what you call it?
Well, a breed of potatoes. Why not? Terence Dackham says that fruit trees are currently going for only a few quid each at Morrison's. Ooh, fruit trees.
I'll see you later.
Yeah. I once bought Harriet a cheap present. Sometime.
You?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I bought her a cheap present. One was they were £1 each. I hope Harriet's not watching. I don't think she is. They were one was blackberries, so it was kind of brambles, and one was raspberries, and one was some other fruit that was like a cross between blackberries and raspberries. Blackberries. No, that doesn't work. No.
What?
Anyway, I don't know what it was. It was something, and they were like £1 each. I think this was a birthday present, and so I didn't spend very much. But you should have seen her face. Yeah, and then I ran for the car and I headed off home quickly because I didn't want to get slapped too hard. But actually, she spoke to me the other day and she said, you know those plants, those awful plants you bought for me, those cheap plants, they're blooming. And she said, I've been picking raspberries.
Oh, fantastic.
So, you know, for £1, it gave her a lot of joy eventually. Maya says she likes the purple jacket.
Thank you very much.
It is a very nice jacket, very smart. I feel underdressed now.
It actually looks like the pale olive green one you wore in the Ludlow video with Harriet and Lola.
Ludlow video.
Yeah. I managed to get round to watching it again this morning.
Yeah, I can't remember what I was wearing. Well, I can't. I know the jacket. I know the jacket. I've only got one pale green.
Shared it to group earlier. Oh. Yesterday, I think.
Oh, marvellous. Thank you very much, Matthew. What a star you are. Robert Crosser, what's it? Croser. Croser. Says,
like the bird and then Sir. Crow.
Oh, Crow, Sir.
Yeah.
Got it. Gardener's question time tonight, then. No, don't ask us questions. Because, well, Julia might know the answer, but I haven't a blooming clue. Steve Blakey says, put the heating on. Yeah, Steve, I don't have any heating. This is a Victorian house with all Victorian mod cons.
You have to do star jumps to keep warm.
Yeah, it has...
I don't have the space for that.
Has a flue and a coal fire in the other room. And nothing else.
So, did we find any answers for places you'd love to visit?
Oh, yes. So, where are the places that you'd like to visit? So, where would you... You said the pyramids.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. I was thinking of this. Where would be the most exciting place? Well, to be honest with you, it would be somewhere in England.
Well, there are lots of places in England and Scotland and Ireland and Wales that I'd like to visit, but, you know, thought I'd go big.
Yeah, no, I know, but this is the thing that Harriet used to, when I was with Harriet, she would always say, where would you most like to go? And then I would say, oh, let me think about that. Where would you most like to go, Harriet? And she would suggest all these places around the world. But the weird thing is, I would say, oh, yeah, no, they're nice, but I want to go to places in England. I don't know what it is. I just have this bent. I'm not so worried about going overseas. Unless I really know something about it. Because whenever I go somewhere, I feel I ought to know something about it to get the essence of what it is, rather than just go there. And, you know, when people go on holiday and they say, oh, we're going over to so-and-so and see such and such. And they go there and they go, oh, it's very nice. I don't know what it was for, but it's very nice. Big. It was a big. Oh, and the sun went down behind it. It was lovely. And you just wonder, well, how much of a cultural experience was it really for you? I didn't go for the culture. Oh, no, I went for the sunshine. Look, I've got bronze skin there. Look at that. And I've got a lovely cancer going up that arm. It's nice. It's very nice.
That's rich coming from you. You're a sun lover.
Yeah, I am a sun lover. But English sun. Yeah. I like the English sun.
I thought of another answer for myself, by the way.
Oh, good.
Herculaneum.
I'm sorry, it's a kind of metal, isn't it? Herculaneum.
Herculaneum.
Where's Herculaneum?
It's an ancient Greek town.
Oh.
One that got messed up by Pompeii is the other city that got flattened.
Yes, I wouldn't mind. I have to say, I wouldn't mind going to Pompeii. Although I'd be a bit nervous that it would just be my luck that Mount Vesuvius would do it again.
Vesuvius.
It would, because there's nothing worse. Absolutely nothing in this world worse than having your head messed up with hot burning ash.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to singe your hairs off, would you?
Oh no! I mean, I look after my eyelashes, you know. I really do, and especially the ones that grow out of my ears. And as for the nasal, well, let's not go there. Glenn Johnson says video 3 minutes behind. Comments only 20 minutes. Sorry about that. Don't know how you're watching, you see. It doesn't really help.
I have no idea what the time actually is at the moment.
No, it's sometime in the evening. It's 24 minutes past the hour. Jonathan Belusic says, I've sat on a camel and watched the sun rise over the Sahara Desert, but I've never been to Scotland.
It's hilarious, isn't it?
So, yeah. Nigel Sadler says Avebury and Silbury Hill for him every time. Well, I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you've reminded me. Thank you for that little cue. The lovely, what's-his-face, Mark Dudar.
We do love Mr. What's-his-face.
We do love Mr. What's-his-face. Mark English and I, yes, ladies and gentlemen, are going to Avebury. Hoo-hoo! Next week, I think it is. Is it next week? Or the week after? Anyway, it's very close.
It's next weekend, isn't it?
It's the 9th to the 11th, whenever that is. I think that's next week. No, it's not this. I'm in Biddenden this weekend.
Oh yes, I'm getting so confused.
Yeah, and so there we are. Look, it looks like we're almost there. Well, it does look like we're there, but we've been magically cropped in because we're not really there. Because I'm actually here and stewed with the lovely Julia.
Dio.
What?
Studio.
The studio. Yes, the studio. Yes, but we are going. Now, if anyone wants to help cough up, because it's costing a little bit of money to go there and stay overnight, if anyone wants to sort of support the old Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi, don't forget you can go to baldexplorer.com, but don't go there today, because the baldexplorer.com server is down and the website's not working. Don't. Blimey. Apparently, they are working on it. There's some fuse that needs wire and fuse fuse and wire, glass bottle, bottle glass, glass bottle, bottle glass, eventually, and it will be working. So, you know, get your money ready and you can support the Vogue, but you can't do it today. So by the time you think about it next time, it'll be all over and we would have made some fantastic videos. But there we are. Unfortunately, we can't get you in the suitcase and take you with us.
Sadly not. No.
I'm so sorry. As much as you know, no, don't keep trying to persuade me. Say, it's this is a bloke's trip.
All right, all right.
No, you can't possibly.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what you and Mark get up to.
Yeah, well, I am actually. Mark, very clever bloke, knows all about Avebury, and he's going to put me to shame because I don't know that much about it. I know there's some standing stones.
I don't know anything about it.
And there's all this wibbly wobbly stuff you can do with rods.
Dowsing rods.
Yes, so we can do a bit of dowsing, and we can have a look at the stones, and we can place our hands on the like you do with the trees, and go, oh, and feel the energies and whatever that is. So you know, I'm looking forward to that, and I will be following Mark's lead. I'll be like a little basset hound trotting along, going, "Oh yes, Mark. Oh righto, Mark." Whatever.
A little dachshund.
Yeah, or a little dachshund. So that would be very interesting. So that's nice. There's a lot of people too. Emily Chambers says, I'm going to be staying in the 1940s Land Girls prefab in December in full costume, and I will do a live video.
That sounds amazing.
That sounds fantastic.
Brilliant.
Will you be doing some land girl work on the land? It's a little bit early, really, for the Land Girls. You should be waiting. You should be waiting till 2020 when it's 80 years of or next year.
Doesn't hurt to get some practice in, does it?
No, that's very true. That's very true. And actually, probably the Land Girls were probably getting ready for war anyway. I've been to both Pompeii and Herculaneum in Italy, and I've climbed up Mount Vesuvius.
Oh,
Emily Champion's
fantastic.
done it all. She's done it all. I feel like I'm not worthy now to be on this programme as the bald explorer because I haven't really explored very much. But there we are. Mark Selwood says, great composite photo. Oh, thanks. Oh, yes. Thank you very much. Talking of great composite photos, I forgot. Oh, yes, I did have another photo. Hold on a minute. Hold on.
Oh.
There is a photo. There is a photo that I had which I cannot find yet. Here it comes, ladies and gentlemen. It was a joint photo of the... How happy we look, ladies and gentlemen. How happy. I meant to show that one. How happy we look.
Finally, we've finished filming this.
Yes.
We've got the plants in the ground.
Ah, it was very nice. And so there we are.
Happy times.
Now we don't look quite so happy. There we were happy. And now we're sad and miserable. Not really, just joking. We ought to do the gallery, talking of happiness.
Actually.
Yes, so let's go into the gallery and have a look at that. Hang on, get some gallery music lined up. You've got the funny dance already. So here is, ladies and gentlemen, the gallery.
She's being chaotic, guys. Oh no! Ah!
He's vicious, isn't he? Right, so on the gallery tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we'll start with this very nice, I don't know whether this is sunrise or sunset.
Do you believe it's sunset?
It must be. It's from Pam, well, you tell us.
It's from Pam Earnshaw. Hang on, let me adjust this. Oh, I thought so. My mic keeps slipping.
Ah, it's probably my fault.
Yes, of course it is.
Yeah.
So this is from Pam Earnshaw, and
yeah.
it's the sky on Saturday evening in Littlehampton.
Oh, and those things sticking up, they could be from the War of the Worlds film, the 1960s War of the Worlds film.
They've got a few legs missing.
They had, yes, but in the film they had lampposts on flying saucers. They kind of got the film wrong. War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. They were in America and they had flying machines instead of tripods. But anyway, just thought I'd mention that. But an interesting film nonetheless. So, moving on.
And another one from Saturday evening. This is from Matthew Holdsworth.
I was there when he took this very photo.
Up on Box Hill.
Yes.
He says, an interesting Saturday evening up on Box Hill with harvest singing and art installation. Fab sunset.
Yes. Notice he didn't say fab harvest singing and art installation. It was a curious event. Let's just leave it at that. This one, quite curious.
This came from Linda Kane. She says, recently had a few days on the Isle of Wight. One of the days we saw this with the naked eye. It's the Rampion Wind Farm, 8 to 10 miles off Worthing.
Yeah, so you can't escape the blooming thing. I think it's hideous. I'm deeply shocked by it. And I saw this video of somebody moaning about it, who was moaning and saying, how dare they put up these giant fans to try and blow the wind about. I thought it was a bit worried.
Was that a flat earther?
It was a flat earther. He thought that they'd put up these giant fans to keep the air moving.
Flans?
Yeah, flans, you know, in the kitchen.
Is that in case the fishermen get hungry?
That's right. Well, it helps. They don't have to use... It reduces the amount of energy used in boats because they can use sails, because the fans will push the ships along by moving the wind.
Okay, moving on.
Okay.
I actually like them, but there we are.
Oh, that's fair dues.
And this one is from none other than my lowly self, Julia. As if, yeah. Anyway, this is on Centurion Way. You can just about, if you listen carefully, you can just about hear Richard saying, "Come along, Julia, catch up."
Come on, hurry up! Stop taking those pictures.
Yep.
Yep, that's true.
Which is pretty much what you were saying.
And it was raining.
It was.
Which is why I was saying, hurry up, I haven't got a coat on, you have, and I'm getting wet. Or words to that effect.
Something like that.
Something like that.
This photograph came from Glenn Johnson. It's the ducking stool, where witches, scolds and gossipers were judged and executed in the 16th and 17th centuries. This one's actually in Canterbury.
And is it a genuine one, or is it a mocked-up one?
I don't actually know the answer to that.
Because if that survived from the 16th and 17th centuries, it's in very good nick, especially as it looks like it's just been dumped by the edge of a wall. So, but I wonder if
it's a very fine point you make. But you know, maybe it's like the old brooms, you know, where you've replaced the handles, you've replaced the bristles, you've replaced the.
Yeah, and in the end, you've replaced the whole lot. So how old is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. It looks like it's at the side of a pub because look, there's a bloke sitting there, and it looks. I can't see a drink, but he's got a newspaper there, and then there's an A-frame in the foreground, which probably gives you the dish of the day. And I wonder if that's trollop on toast, or some other sort of witch on pita bread, or pitta.
Pita bread.
Yeah, pita bread.
Okay.
From Peterborough. What about this one?
This photograph came from David Carey. It's Moulton Windmill, Lincolnshire, built 1822, fully restored and working. Tallest in the country at, 100 foot,
Wow.
9 stories tall. Grade 1 listed.
Looks nice. We'll have to go up there. Lincolnshire, bit of a trek though, but very nice. Funnily enough, we have another one.
Yep, and this one came from Clive Ballaston, a new member of the Bold Explorer group.
Thank you, Clive.
He makes reference to Jonathan Creek with Shipley Mill.
Oh yes, because they filmed some of the episodes of because Jonathan Creek is supposed to have lived inside a windmill, and that was the windmill the film crew used. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be being maintained anymore, which is a big shame.
This photograph was taken by Andrew Graham. It's a visit to what?
Visit to the
largely 15th century cathedral in Manchester. Stunning, albeit modern stained glass windows and an appearance by the Green Man. Well, I only chose one photograph and I didn't choose the Green Man one.
I can't quite work out. I thought that was looking out onto some bushes on the other side of the window, with the sun just catching it in such a staggering way. But that's actually the glass, is it?
I think there are bushes and trees behind, but yeah, the glass wasn't all one same colour, you know.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Well, it looks magnificent.
It's all red, but it's all different shades of, you know.
Okay.
Different opaqueness.
Yes.
I think is the word I was
like
looking for.
opaque.
Oh, heaven's sakes. These two photographs were meant to come round the other way.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know that. Hang on.
Hence, that's labelled number 2.
Oh, okay. How about that?
Thank you. So this one came from Paul Hine, and it was in Winchester. They came across this magnificent tree and asked, does anyone know what it is? And Cynthia Julian answered, Magnolia grandiflora.
Oh, yeah. And that's the second
and
bit.
And this is the flower, a close-up of the flower on the Magnolia grandiflora in Winchester.
Oh, fantastic. So there we are.
So thank you, everybody, for all the lovely photographs.
And remember to do keep posting them there, but do bear in mind that we cannot return your photographs because we haven't got enough stamps.
I wonder if that one will ever get old, that joke.
No, it'll never be old. It'll never be old because it's an old Vision On joke. Do you remember Vision On? No. You see, this music that we've just heard, I did the quick thing.
Oh, that.
That's from the gallery.
Oh, I see.
On Vision On. And Pat Kiesel always used to say, every time they say it, because people would send in their pictures and stuff, and she would always say, and remember, and she would sign this for the death.
I see.
And remember, we cannot return your pictures because for whatever reason it was, I can't remember the reason, there's too many of them. And so what they would end up doing is people would do these lovely pictures, send them in, and they would show them, and then they would put them in a tip. I heard a programme on Radio 4 about the behind the scenes of Vision On. Oh, yes. You know, all these lovely pictures are so nice. From Jemima, age 7, I've spent 4 years doing this picture. And they go, oh, that's very nice. Just stick it over there. Quick picture, bung on the music. Then, once it's done, straight in the skip. No, we can't be bothered to send the picture back, even though they'd put a stamped address envelope and everything. Nope. Tough titties, I believe, was the terminology.
So what else have we got on the agenda?
Steve Pilfold says, everyone wants electricity, but seems some still think that you shouldn't see where the electricity comes from. You don't have to see where it comes from, in actual fact, if you are clever. Unless you live in a northern town where the black smoke belch coal-fire power station is fine, and send the electricity down the south where they don't want to see it. I think Steve Pilfold has it in for me. Everything I say, he's against. Steve Pilfold says, I'm getting mine for a few months until the summertime. What, your electricity?
Ignoring.
Oh, ignoring. I want my pick back, says Glenn Johnson. You can't have it. So no. You shouldn't have posted. Anyway.
I'm keeping it anyway.
The thing is, that's only a copy. Isn't it? Technically, it's only a copy. You've still got the original. And if you sent the original in, I don't know how Facebook managed to get it up, because even then they still have to put a copy up. You cannot replace the original. And really, even you don't have the original, because the original is actually the thing.
Yeah.
Glad we make that clear. So there we go. Oh yes, Jeffrey from Rainbow died today.
Yeah.
That was very sad. I'm sure old Zippy must be very upset. And as for Bungle, what can you say? I think hasn't Bungle already died anyway? I don't think there's many left from the Rainbow. Who was the other one? The little funny pinky cow one. There was Zippy.
George.
Oh, George. Yes, George. Claire says, Heartbeat with Tony Hart. Yes, that's true. Tony Hart, he's snuffed it. One. He's snuffed it as well. They're all going. Well said, Steve, says Pam Earnshaw. Oh, about what? The electricity, and nobody wants to see where it comes from. I remember watching Magnus Pyke many, many years ago. Dr. Magnus Pyke. You know Magnus Pyke, the man whose hands were too loud for the deaf. He once said that there was enough power in striking a match. If you could harness the power of the actual striking a match to power the world. There was enough power in there. But they couldn't do it for some reason. Maybe they will in the future. I mean, we have to respect people like Dr. Magnus Pyke. So that's good. Steve Pilfold says, not got it in for you at all. I made similar comment to the BBC journalist today on Twitter. Oh, golly. Who uses Twitter and actually wants a serious conversation with anybody? Because I think Twitter is just really for people who have got grievances and want to have a go at people. Do you use Twitter? No. I think Twitter used to be really nice. It used to be a global notice board. You could say hello to somebody and they'd say hello back. You could have a conversation with them. But now it just seems to be a place for trolls where everyone goes, nah, I've got something on all the time, yeah. Seems to be a place of vitriol and hatred. Anyway, having got that off my chest, the Vobes show is also a place for vitriol and hatred, and I've just proved that. Blah, blah.
Sounded like you said vitriol.
What did I mean to say?
Vitriol. There's no C in there. I don't know. What do I know? But, where was it? Glenn Johnson says, rebuild water wheels to generate electricity. Free energy and cute looking.
Yeah,
like
I wouldn't mind if they rebuilt windmills, as in windmills, proper windmills.
I think he was thinking watermill.
Yes, and water mills. I mean, I think there's a lot of ways that you don't have to see the electricity being ground. You don't have to. I don't think that you have to, disassemble the the what is it? The horizon. I mean, why didn't they put those rampion things out of the horizon? They could have put them just over the horizon, couldn't they? Because they couldn't really, because then the French would have said, "Here, we don't want to see it," because the French don't want to see it because it's our electricity. Except it's a French company who's put the bloody things up. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. They don't want to see it. They erect it on our side of the horizon so that we end up having to see it, so that they make the profit from the wind. And I thought, where does the wind doesn't get any profit back, does it? Where does the wind get its profit from? You know, it's that slave labour, that is. Harnessing natural resources. No one's consulted those natural resources. How do you fancy being the thing that generates electricity for humans? I don't know. I like that. Anyway, is it time for my pills?
Yep.
Oh, good. What is the time, by the way? 22. Jonathan Belusic says Bungle spent his retirement years selling autographs for a fiver on the London Underground, which is a shame. George hit the bottle and entered rehab before living out the rest of his years, finishing on the Isle of Man. The last sighting of Zippy was in 2014 on a Brighton pier, muttering, "What's the point?" all to himself. And I don't know if you've noticed that the hit children's television series Snug and Cosy, the bald bloke, the thinner of the two bald blokes, seems to have got himself a little internet channel somewhere and is egotistically spouting a whole load of nonsense to a bunch of people who think they wish he had pushed himself over the edge. So it's funny what happens to those children's television presenters in the future, isn't it? They don't think of that at the time when they do it. They all get forgotten and, you know, nobody wants to know. Poor old George. Steve Pilfold says, I think you get better quality of debate on Twitter than Facebook. Fewer cat videos. Well, now you're talking. That's true.
That's no good, is it?
That wouldn't suit... George Timberley says, rant time! Rant time! Ding, ding! Round one. Oh, I've lost my notes. Hold on a minute.
Not that you've really stuck to them.
It's my show. I
Yes,
can do what I
yes,
blooming
you're
well
absolutely
like.
right,
She's
you can.
telling me what I can do or not.
Oh,
Thank
did I
you.
actually tell you? Yeah, no, never mind.
Let's have a look at what we got. Some bought and immediately... Oh, yeah. What is something you've bought and immediately regretted? Have you got any of those?
Well, yeah, the books you mentioned.
Yeah. Anything else?
That's the latest thing. I can't think of anything else at the moment.
No. What about you guys up there? Anything you've bought and then thought, oh... I mean, there's those things that you buy and when you get it, you think, oh, was that value for money? Or you're disappointed. You know, sometimes the hype is more than the actual thing. That's clearly not good. I remember when I was a kid, I bought a light meter. And it was true, it was a light meter for my camera. And in the old days, you used to buy light meters. And this was a light meter. I mean, it wasn't very heavy. But that wasn't the thing. But my dad had one. And it was very heavy. And it felt like it was... I don't know, there was something about having a metal thing that you could hold in your hand, and it cost a bit of money, and you'd think that's value for money because it's made of metal. It was a perception thing. And I bought a light meter, and the bloke in the shop said, oh, yes, you can get your F numbers, and you can find out what ASA you want for all your photography and stuff, because in the old days, the cameras, you know, weren't very good at doing that. You'd have a light meter, and you'd be going, oh, yes, it's about F8, 3.5, 5.6 here, F8 down there, and F16 up here, and I'll take the focal length to whatever it was, 55mm, what, you know, all that kind of nonsense. And you do all that, and you go, oh, I want one of those. I want one of those, so you can point and fiddle and fart with it. And so I bought one from this shop, and I was about 16, and I got this thing home, and I opened it up, and it was made of plastic, and it cost, I don't know what it costs now, but it was, and it did everything, but it was just thin plastic, and he didn't take it out of the box, you see, because it was in the box. He said, oh, no, I can't take it out of the box. You have to buy it as is. So I got it home and I thought, this is crap. I don't like it. It's too light. I wanted something chunky and heavy that, you know, I felt quality. I'd spent lots of money on this thing. So I went back to the shop and I said, here, I've changed my mind. I don't like this. He said, well, you can't have your money back. I said, what do you mean you can't have my money back? I was a spotty little teenager, you know, 16, just my first paycheck at work sort of thing. They said, well, what do you mean? I can't have my money back? He said, no, you can have a credit note. They used to do these things where no, we keep the money, don't we? Once you've got your money, we keep it. We're going to give you a credit note. So I could buy something else in his poxy shop. And, I didn't want to buy anything from him. I didn't want to buy anything. I thought you were a horrible, crowty old geezer. And actually, years later, I did hear that he had some terrible heart problems and he died like a shriveled worm. And if I could find his grave, I'd jump up and down on it. I really would. Anyway, I'm such a nice man. The last bit of that is not true. I don't know that whether he died or lived. I mean, presumably he was dead because he was pretty ancient when I went in there. But he wouldn't. He gave me a credit note, and I did have to. I bought, I don't know, stuff. I gave him back this light meter. I was very disappointed. So, have you bought anything that you've ever regretted? Emily Champion says, most things I buy never as good after a while. That's true. Jonathan Belusic says, just like wine, Emily, I buy bottles of wine and they're never as good in the morning. Well, why are you drinking them in the morning? That's a bad time to be drinking wine. I think, Jonathan, you better get down to your GP. I think you've got a problem there. Charlatans album. It was... Paul and Suzanne Watts says, well, I commented on buying something that I immediately regretted, but it's gone now. Oh. Kevin Hall, hooray! 4 short videos sent to the Vobes, but it took about 1.5 hours. Oh, yes, Kevin was going to do some videos. We were going to play them in, but I'll play them in on Wednesday. Steve Pilfold says that Julia is zoned out.
I had, yes. Sometimes it's necessary.
And Robert Croser says a U2 CD, not as good. Ever listen to U2? You like music?
I do like music. Not big on U2, I have to admit.
Okay. What about Me 3? They're quite good.
Oh, I like Me 3.
Me 3. I bought a large kebab and chips. Totally regretted it. Yeah, sometimes food. That's a true thing, isn't it? Yeah. I think sometimes our eyes are bigger than our stomachs, aren't they? Yep. Alex Whitlock has arrived. Hello, Alex. Gone up the screen, says Paul. Oh, right. Hang on. We'll have a look. See if we can find it.
I've got a feeling it's way, way back. I don't think we'll be able to get back far enough.
GoPro Black 2018 model, very basic.
All that.
What do you mean by GoPro Black 2018? What number is that, though? Is that the new 7? Rod Hull fell asleep off his roof. That's very true. Pam Earnshaw says, how many times a day do you see a wind farm, Richard? I see an ugly structure.
Every time I look out of my window.
Well, there you are, you see. Every time I go down to the seafront, I'm not far from the seafront, so I do see it quite a lot. Maya says, go Vobes, go. Thank you. Gotta love the Vobes, says Glenn Johnson. There we are. People like it when I have a rant. Julia doesn't like it when I have a rant. Oh, all right, let's do an instant poll. Who objects? Be honest. Who objects to me having a rant from time to time? It's all in jest, it's all entertainment, it's all a bit of fun. But who hates that on the show? Because if you hate it on the show, I will stop. Not stop doing the show.
There's from time to time, and then there's 3 times a show, and then there's not at all a show. There's kind of 3 options there.
All right, so take your pick. But I'd be interested if people just generally don't like me having a rant. You don't like me having a rant.
Sometimes it gets a bit awkward for me.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Well, maybe you should have a rant.
Well, I tend to get daggers if I start ranting.
From who?
You.
No, I will not do any daggers.
Or maybe I make that up. I don't know.
I hope I don't do daggers. Oh, we're being a bit introspective now, ladies and gentlemen.
Very curious.
Sometimes I'm very confused, you see, because you get mixed messages. Sometimes, people say, go, Vobes, go, which is great, and I do my thing. And people know that's what I do. It's like going to a horse rider and saying, oh, yes, this bloke, he rides horses. We don't like it when he rides horses. We don't like it when he he's a horse rider, but we don't actually like it.
I don't know, I just said, we don't like it when he whips the horse.
Right. But then he would be a horse whipper.
That's what horse jockeys used to do. Just whip them a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Now they're restricted to only 3 times in a race. Or 3 times in a row.
Oh, right.
Anyways, that's a whole nother matter.
It's a whole nother matter. Okay.
A whole nother matter.
Awkward turtle. What's an awkward turtle? I'm not quite sure. Occasional rants are good, says Linda Kane. Early U2 was good. Lover Rant says Maya. From time to time says Nigel. Mark Selwood says, me pinching your bottom, I send out mixed messages. That was fine. You could have pinched my bottom, Mark, but I didn't get the wrong message there. I know what you're like. Matthew Howard says, I've just got back in. You've missed it all. You've missed it all, mate. You've missed it. I saw Mark. I saw Matthew today. We had a very nice man. He bought me a coffee. Got to say that. Can't say anything wrong with somebody who buys me a nice cup of coffee. Just before I went to register my mother's death. It went into the to do death duties day today. Went to the funeral parlour. Oh my God, funeral parlour. Have you been to a funeral parlour?
Yeah.
It's I mean, it's a necessary thing, and everyone's being polite, and you know, with this sort of false. Oh, I'm ever so sorry about your loss, and it's like, yeah, well, we've done all that now. We just want to get the funeral sorted out, please. Yes, of course. We'll just make sure that's all very nice, and it was all very sweet. But it's like, oh, for God's sake, does it need to take an hour and a half to go through a checklist and go, no flowers, none of this, yes, cheap box, diddly-do, 6 foot down, burn at the thing, marvellous. But they're all like, oh, well, yes, I understand you. Oh, well, I know, it's so, it must be awful for you. It's like, it happens. Does it not?
What, death?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the few guarantees in life, isn't it?
That's true. That and haircuts.
I think I've heard of and suffered enough death of late though.
You've had 2.
I've had 2 last week.
Yes.
Well, obviously not my personal deaths. That would be a bit weird.
No.
Miraculous, in fact.
And I've had two parents within a year.
Yeah.
So you know, it's evens. Can that be evens?
Well, if you're going to be like that, I've had 3 this year.
Oh, right.
2 in the last 2 weeks.
Okay, I need somebody else to die just to catch up.
This is not a competition.
No, but these were my immediate family, as in my mum and my dad.
Yeah.
Does that count?
Well, one of them was my immediate family.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyways, it's like I said, this is not a competition.
Well, actually, no. To be fair, I did tread on an ant. I was very fond of the ant. He's a very nice ant. He used to come to all my meals and sit there looking at me, going, "Can I have some of that?" And I go, "No, bog off." Because he never invited me to any of his meals. Plus the fact I wouldn't even see what he was eating. It would be too small. Just a thought. Steve Phil says there is an undertaker on Hailsham who do a comedic window display. Well, that would be very funny. Actually, that reminds me. One day I was filming with my company that books me to do testimonials, and we were filming for a radio station or a newspaper. I can't remember now. They advertised in there, and they wanted them to say some nice things about their advert in the paper, you see. And we went to this funeral parlour, and we did the advert, and we got in with his coffins in the background. And go, "Oh yes, and advertising in the paper has been brilliant for my business," and blah 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 blah. Anyway, we filmed all this, and at the end, we got chatting, and as it happened, I'd never seen a dead body at that point, and I happened to mention that, and he said, "Oh, we've got one in the fridge in the back. Do you want to have a look?" And and the woman who was with me, who was taking me round, it was like, "What?" And I was thinking, no, that could be somebody's mother or granny or something. What if my relation was in there? I wouldn't want you going to them. "Never seen a dead one? Come round the back, mate. Have a look at that. There you go. Look, that's a nice one. £5. There we are." It was a bit like a circus show. So that was very inappropriate. Just sort of mentioned it. It just reminded me.
Yeah.
But I quite like the idea of comedy.
Comedy displays.
Comedy displays. Do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Kevin Hall says, "Moving on. Enough about death, please." Thanks, Kevin. It's funny when Karen Holdaway says, hello, Karen. Simon Arnold says, "Several stones."
Yeah, he's got 2 more messages up there. He says, or he's pointing out that we're going to be walking with him and Ed Warren on Wednesday.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
You know, walking up the hill next to
Blackdown?
Ed's. Yes, that's the one.
Big
next
Blackdown.
to Ed's home.
Apparently that's, I think, the biggest hill in Sussex.
Yeah. And he's got he's got a stone he'd like to show us, Simon Arnold.
Oh, Marv. That's very nice. I like looking at stones.
Yes.
Is it like a rune? little rune?
I think it's a big stone.
Oh, right. Simon Arnold,
Don't know.
I'm looking forward to meeting you and being shown the stone,
Yes.
which will be good. Maybe it's one of those like that Kiss the Blarney stone. Maybe I have to lick it.
Oh, apparently it's a stone wall. A stone wall.
Oh, Stonewall. Yeah, I often get stonewalled. You know, people often don't talk to me. But that would be very interesting. I'm looking forward. Yeah, so we're going. It's going to be nice to see Ed. Haven't seen Ed Warren.
It's been far too long.
For a long, long time. And so he put something on Facebook, didn't he?
Yes. Yes, earlier on today, to which I responded. And then,
So what did he put on Facebook?
well, he was saying that he was going to go for a walk.
Yes,
At this
I know
time to
it,
that
but
time.
they don't know it.
Okay. Well, he posted on the Bold Explorer group, asking if anyone wanted to join him on this lovely walk.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
And then you said to me,
And I was like, that sounds perfect.
and it was.
It fits
What
my
a brilliant
timings.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to go.
So I said, "Are you busy, Richard?
Yeah.
On Wednesday?" I said, "Not yet."
Not yet.
I
But
said, "Well, you are now."
yeah, fantastic. So that's marvellous. I'm looking forward to that. I went up to Black Deck because he's going up to, what's it called? Windy Ridge? Windy...
I can't remember what it
There's that ridge. We did a video about it. You can check it out on the Tube of Views or the Book of Faces. And there's I can't remember. There's the poet, not Hare Belloc, but some other poet. Not Lord Byron. Oh, it was Lord somebody or other. Oh Lord, I can't remember. One of these poets. Yeah,
I don't know.
straight over my head. And of course, Ed Warren's very famous for reading poetry at that particular point. In the video, and thereafter he was I think all his mates thought it was hilarious, and I thought it was hilarious at the time, so much so we made a video. But we're going up there again, and Simon Arnold is going to show us this stone, which will be good.
Apparently, it has some crow's feet symbols on it. This wall.
Oh, does that mean
I don't know. Scroll back up, and we'll catch it.
yeah, does that mean, is that like crows, is that like a witchcraft thing?
Crow's foot engraved on them. Oh, the government crow's foot engraved on them.
Oh, the old benchmark. Yeah, the old benchmark. We made a video about benchmarks, me and Martin Snow.
Ah.
Yeah, back in there. Check that out. Go to the Tuber Use and put Bold Explorer benchmark, and you'll see all about the crow's feet thing. Steve Bilfold said we had a funeral cortege through our town that was so long they had to liaise with the railway not to put the barriers down over the level crossing and divide it. So what happened? The trains ploughed straight through, caused multiple deaths, and there were more people joining the back of the cortege.
Well, they'd have just had to hold some trains up for a moment, wouldn't they?
Ah, yeah, that's true. Ancient wall. I need to know more about it. I need to know... Yes, well, so do I. That sounds really cool. Very interested about that. Emily Champion says hairy something. Oh, Tennyson. Lord Tennyson. Sorry, where do you want to go?
Up to that one from Emily Champion. I knew a lady who worked as an undertaker. She said she once brought a family in to see an open coffin, and they lined up and took it in turns to punch the dead man. They said he was awful when he was alive, so he deserved it. Well, that's a shocker, isn't it?
That's outrageous. I'd love to know what he had done.
It's a really odd thing, because I mean, I've always felt like, you know, it doesn't matter what someone's done in death, you respect it. I don't know.
But why?
Well, put it this way, I wouldn't be jumping on Trump's grave if he died. I don't know why. It's just respect for life and death. I don't know. I don't know. Respect. RESPCT.
I don't know.
I can't be the only one, surely.
No, maybe... it is a funny old thing, isn't it? They said, well, respect the dead. But if they were horrible bastards whilst they were living, why give them any respect?
What's the point? Because it doesn't actually get you anywhere. I mean,
Well, it might make you
it
feel better.
desensitises you to hitting someone who's not resisting. It's really bad, in my opinion.
Yeah, but he can't feel it, can he?
That's not the point. It's
But
desensitising
what
the
about
person who's doing.
But what about the people who may have been?
No, I get it. I understand. You know, there are people who've wronged me, and I still wouldn't. I don't know. It just smacks.
So it's like death then stops all of that.
No, it doesn't.
All right.
But getting revenge on a corpse, they're dead. How much revenge do you actually get? And if it makes you feel better hitting a dead corpse, then it's just weird.
I think you'd have to respect the family of the dead person.
Of course, you know.
And I think that's...
I'm just having my rant.
No, good. I'm glad. I'm pleased to see it.
Good. There it was.
Oh, there it was.
It's gone now.
Marv.
Scone.
No, scone.
It's gone now.
Skedaddled. No, it's interesting. That's an interesting point. I just wonder, you know, we take so much for granted, don't we? We don't question it. It's like, you know, when you're dead, why? To me, you see, I didn't see my mother actually die, but I witnessed my dad actually die. I was 3 hours away from my mother. I left and then she died. She probably waited for me to go. But I saw Dad die, and within seconds, once he died, it wasn't him. It was a waxwork dummy of him. I knew immediately it wasn't him. It made no difference because the thing that made my dad had gone, and it was just like an old coat that was the stiff old coat. It was just this, yeah, and it was like, that's not him. So, but everybody takes it very differently. And of course you have to, and I agree that you should respect how other people take it, because you know, you shouldn't be. I don't think anybody can say to somebody else, "This is what you should feel." Of course they should. No, that's right. So those people who wanted to punch this other bloke, I don't know enough of the circumstances. Obviously, I don't know enough of the circumstances, but it's quite amusing to me that happened. It may be absolutely disgraceful. Maybe he was a saint and they just hated him, and so they wanted to hit him. Who knows? I mean, I don't know.
Who knows?
Judy, I don't know how you pronounce your surname. Zane says, "Good afternoon, Richard and Julia." Good afternoon to you. Are you in New Zealand or somewhere?
No, she's goodness sake, she's American.
Oh, you're in America. Oh, yes, of course you are. That's
Hi,
right.
Judy.
Hi, Judy. Ed says, "Evening, Simon." That's yes, Tennyson. That's right. I'm glad you're out there. Bring sandwiches. Temple wins. Oh yes, we will bring sandwiches. Thanks very much.
Yeah,
yeah.
Bag.
I'm glad he mentioned about bringing sandwiches. Julia can read the poetry on the Temple of the Winds this time. Says Ed. I think that would be good.
Yeah.
Select a bit of Tennyson for Julia to read. That would be good. Dean Cooper says no swearing, please.
John Berger says, "Well, I'd be scared if you hit a live corpse." Ha ha.
Well, that would that goes without saying. Andy Joy says, "I agree with Richard." Oh, that's nice. Robert Crosser says it's getting very dark where he is. Simon says, "I agree, Richard. I felt the same way." So, you know, everybody's going to have a different opinion, to be honest with you. No opinion is any more right than anybody else's, but we're all entitled to have an opinion. Trouble is, these days, you're not allowed to have an opinion unless it's the approved opinion. And I don't have an approved opinion of anything. Kevin Hall says, "I was with my dad when he died, but it was still him, but not when I went to the Chapel of Rest, one of the saddest days of my life." So, when you... I don't understand that. What the Chapel of Rest, just describe that. Is that when the funeral parlour open up the thing and the court, you know, maggots and flies fly out? Is that...
Yeah, no, I think it's the way you go and see the corpse in the funeral.
Yes, you see, when we were at the funeral place today, she said, "Does anybody want to go and see the corpse?" And it's like, no, not really. But then my sister said that one of the grandchildren wanted to maybe go and see it. And so she said, "Oh, when?" Because if it's too late after, you know, obviously the corpse starts to decompose, but we can make up the face. So I said, "Well, what do you mean by make up the face?" And she said, "Well, we can make it resemble, you know, if you give us a photo, we'll make it resemble that." And I thought, what? So what, if I go in with a photo of my mum at 16, can you make it look like that? Oh yeah, we can massage it all out, fill it all in and do all. I just thought, no. Who wants to see a pretend made up corpse of a dead person? It's either them as they are or nothing. You know, and if the person, unfortunately, I mean, the chap, the grandchild chappie, I think it's Thomas, he's in Canada, so he can't just get back. So it's unfortunate, but really and truly, you know, it's like, who wants to see the corpse? I don't know. People do. I'm just questioning. I'm just saying.
That's all part of how I deal with grief, particularly with the closer I am to someone, the more necessary it is for me to see the corpse.
Yes, and I
Like
completely,
you say, it's everyone has different ways of dealing with it.
Absolutely, and I completely respect that. And if that's what they want to do, that's fine. But from my side, it was like, okay, I wouldn't want to.
I respect that.
Yeah, everybody's.
I wouldn't encourage you to do so if as you don't want to.
No, I mean it's like the other day. You had a friend who had a rabbit who died. She didn't want to touch the rabbit because it was now dead, and she found that difficult. And I'm the same. If something's dead, I don't know why. I don't want to touch it. But you're quite happy.
I'm the same, but
Were you with that dead lamb we saw?
Yeah. Yeah, so I had the need to check it and just see if there was any evidence of it being attacked. But it looked like I say natural, not a vet, but it wasn't an attack, I don't think.
No, but I admired the fact that you could do that, whereas I just thought, no, it's dead. I'm walking away. Don't want to touch it.
I'd have been curious about that fact all day. And like I say, I've had lots of pets, small animals in my time. So I have, in a way, desensitised myself a bit to handling the dead pets.
And that's a very interesting point, isn't it? Because I think we've all become we've all become detached from death, and death was a very everyday occurrence a few hundred years ago.
This could make a really good episode of the Vobes show if you wanted to at some point.
So
really morbid though.
It is morbid, but death was every day, and my sister and I discovered that. My sister, who's a nurse, she discovered that actually it's perfectly legal to have a body. You could have your mum and dad if they're dead, or any relation, whoever it is, to have them at your house. You can have them sitting in a chair there. And it's perfectly legal to take them from wherever they've died, like say the hospital, and take them home and say, "I'm having it." You sign for it, and you can have it. It's only a problem if it becomes a public health issue, i.e. that the smell or there's risk of disease. So if you have it embalmed or put into formaldehyde or some such stuff, you can do that. Perfectly legal. Not only that, we also discovered you don't need a hearse, you don't need any of that. You can carry the body in the back of your car. You do have to cover it up, though.
But the trouble is, most people just rely on the funeral directors to sort it all out.
That's right,
so,
absolutely.
And they will only do it a certain way, really.
There's a place in Hastings, they were talking about this on You and Yours, only today as I was driving up to register the death. They were talking about you can, this coffin club, and you can decorate your own coffin well before you die in flat pack.
Oh, yeah.
And it's and so you can, if you want to put Michael Jackson all over it, you can do whatever you like. So it's interesting. I think, since the Victorians, we've all got this sort of idea that we've got to have this, death is such and... But for some people, it's like big celebrations. And for others, it's very serious and dour and, everybody's different.
So should we cheer this up before we have to say goodbye? Because
yes.
This is a very depressing...
Well, you just said this would make a great...
No, I know it would, for those who want to, but... They were unsuspecting today.
Oh, yes, that's true. But they weren't completely unsuspecting because they know that my mum's just died recently.
Well,
Pam Earnshaw says, I had to see my mum and hubby as both unexpected. I had to say goodbye. I think, yes, it's important when you say goodbye to them, isn't it? Some people take great comfort from it. Personally, I wouldn't want to do it, says Claire Leach. I think I would have nightmares, says Emily Champion. Mark Selwood says, after kissing my dad in the coffin... The first thing I'd done when I got home was to wash my mouth out, weirdly. Andy Joy says, my missus wants to be a tree. You can be a tree when you die.
Me too.
Glenn Johnson says, take a pic of Gene Simmons from Kiss. Make this and earn your money. Over my head.
Yeah.
Don't know what you're talking about there. Steve Pilford, June from the Sun Life adverts, is very excited about her funeral. We're into extra time tonight. Oh, thanks for reminding me. Oh, yes, we are. Time to go, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
time to go.
How depressing.
How depressing that we've got to go?
Yes, very depressing.
Anyway, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. It's we've discussed a few subjects. They've been interesting or not interesting. They've been weird or not weird. They've been fun or not fun. But they have been discussed. And that's all that was important. And I'll be back again on Wednesday after the walk with Ed Warren. So there we are. So that should be good. In the meantime, gotta go. Thank you, Julia, for coming in.
Thank you very much for having me again.
Always a pleasure, always a joy.
So, When you hear this music.
I was a bit late there. Hang on, I'm going to do that again. Hold on, hang on. Oh, let me get marked up. Ready and go.
When you hear this music.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, when you hear that music, you know that Julia wants to go and be warmed up in the kitchen. So there we go. I haven't got my Rayburn yet, so there's no hope of being warmed up anywhere in my house. Until the next time, thank you so much for watching. It's been an absolute joy. Thank you for tuning in. Hope we haven't depressed you too much.
Yeah, I hope not.
But there we go. Nice to see you. To see you nice. Arrivederci.
Bye.
Goodbye.